And to be even more inspired, we have an amazing woman who has a lot of knowledge in the power of gratitude, and her name is Carla Mickelborg. She's an actress, but she's also really transitioned and utilized the power of gratitude in her life. And she's the founder of Monday, a platform that's offering mental and physical tools that help us forget time and place in order to be more in the presence. Now, Carla is going to come up on stage and be interviewed in a live podcast by our own longevity and health queen, Tina Hertz, who, of course, is the initiator of Copenhagen Health Week, the founder of 130 Labs, and also the founder of 130 Biohacks. So please give it up for Carla and Tina.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
a very nice presentation. So, first of all, how many in here is speaking English? Okay, great. We'll do it in English then. Okay.
Yes, welcome. And thank you for getting up early on this Sunday morning on day 2, Copenhagen Health Week.
Yes.
I've really been looking forward to this conversation, and we are going to do it as a conversation today.
Yes.
But I think from both of us we come from different backgrounds, and we both felt the urge to venture into this space of health and wellness that is very important to both of us. But can you tell me, I would love to hear what your transition into it was.
That was my question to you as well. Well, I always worked with self-development and self-love. That has been kind of my thing in my entire life, I would say. But a turning point in my life where I have this tradition in my family where every Christmas night me and my mom and brother, we are gathered and we talk about our wishes for the coming year. And I really took it to the extreme. I had such a long list with all the things that I want to achieve the next coming year. And my mom, she was like, wow, that's a lot. And would you really tell that to your best friend that that's what you want her to do? And I said, probably not. But you know what? All the other years, I always achieved everything I wanted. So I might as well just give it all I can imagine that I would love to create. And after I read this whole list, losing weight and looking my best and buy a new car and all the materials that we sometimes put on a pedestal and try to achieve, I had it all. And then it was my brother who's his turn to tell his wishes for the coming year. And he said, I don't have as much going on. I don't have that many wishes for my next year at all. I only wish for one thing, actually, and that's a good friend. And every time I talk about this, I get so emotional.
Yeah, I do too, but just by you saying it. That's very sweet, huh?
Yeah, and the presentation, she said that those small things we can be grateful for, actually, they are the biggest things. We just don't put that much attention into them.
Exactly.
Having a good friend, having a good conversation where you get touched in your heart, that is so much more worth than driving in a Porsche for some people. But I just realized that it doesn't matter how much I achieve. It doesn't matter all the things that I can create if I have no one to share it with, that I love, that I pay attention to, that I'm present with. And that was where the whole thing started, my journey into... at that time, I wasn't even aware that it was gratitude. But I found out that gratitude is when we remember the joy we already have access to. And if we don't pay attention to the things that are valuable for us, we neglect them. Neglect them.
Yeah.
Yes, and when we neglect, I can't pronounce.
Neglect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't use that
We have
word again.
words like that. I have to.
When we do that, we forget all about them and we don't realize them. So gratitude is actually realizing joy. And when we don't have gratitude, we don't experience joy. Isn't that crazy?
But
It's just
it is crazy, and as you're doing, like, just take that in.
Yeah.
Because I think this is what we forget. We are running so fast, whatever we are doing, that we forget to take that in.
Yes.
And I can only say from my personal experience, I'm still practicing a lot in that, because you go in such a fast pace, and you're on the next ball before you actually just remember to be grateful for what's right here, right now.
Exactly.
And I think this is really something of our time, that we as human beings has become so focused on all the things we need to do, we should do, we want to do, that we forget to stop and be grateful for what we have in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think if to just wrap it up, we had a company, my brother and my mom, for years called Goals, where we made big wall collages where you put pictures on all your goals and try to feel it, because pictures creates feelings instead of just words. So that's still a good thing, but we don't have that company anymore. But I found out that gratitude was the key, and so I made a gratitude diary. It's actually pretty easy to write this book because it's full of blank pages. So that was a quick one, but in the end there's some questions where you can find out what is actually your focus, because as I just said, what we are focusing on, that is what we build up. Yes, where the eye goes, energy flows. So we have to be focused on the things that really gives us joy and makes sense. So this has been the most effective tool in my life to be more grateful. Just one page. You don't have to do it every day, but just writing down things, not necessarily, oh, I'm so happy for this cup of coffee again. Not the materials, not the Porsche, not the weight, not the flat six-pack, but behind the relationships like that, I think that's the most valuable. So when things are not going my way, and I have right now I'm going through a breakup, that's pretty tough, because I thought that was the guy that I was having my children with, and it's just it sucks.
It does, yeah.
But when I'm focusing on other ways of getting love and giving love, I can be grateful for that, even though I'm going through a heartbreak. Yesterday I shared a picture of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Is that his name? Yes, in English. Where he's like listening to Grisling, the little pink one, and it's just coming into him like me, and he's like me, holding Grisling. And I posted that on my Instagram, and I thought that was my ex-boyfriend. I had that emotion when I posted it. But then two other guys that has been such a big support in this process, just friends, they texted me, "Is that me?" And I was like, yes, it is actually, because I also love you, and you're also a big supporter of my life. And I'm so blessed that love is showing me all these things that I wasn't aware of, because I only thought that one love was good enough. It's only him who can love me. But actually, life is full of love. And that's just one thing you can use your diary to remind yourself of all the love that you can receive from also you guys. Just paying attention. That is actually giving you more joy than so many other things you thought would give you joy.
I think it's so beautiful, and thank you for sharing, because it's so important, and it's a tool we all have. We can all find a pen and a paper. It doesn't cost anything, or even invest in. And I love the journal, and I love your journal, and I've used it, and I think it can help guide you with all these many journals that come now. But you can also just sit in your notebook. It doesn't have a cost. It takes a few minutes, but it is a very powerful tool, and it certainly helps again reprogram, I think for many of us, a mindset where we are just so focused on the negative thought patterns, on guilt, on pushing ourselves, of not feeling good enough or doing enough or whatever, or feeling victimized by somebody leaving us or somebody not treating us like we wanted to. So I think it's the beauty of this, and I'm so happy that there's so much focus on it, and that you help also share and put focus on it, because I think it's really such a fundamental part of our well-being from a mental perspective, and that will also tap into our physical health on that note. But yeah.
Yes. And what you just said, like the strategies that we use to actually, we're trying to protect ourselves, finding flaws on the outside. It's your fault that I'm sad. Well, that might be some part of the truth, but it is your choice how you would work with it. And feeling victimized or feeling someone else's is not good to you, that's also helpful to write that down and see, how do you react? It made me feel like this. I said this, but actually I was just hurt. Try to be more vulnerable. That is more helpful. You know, war only stops when people are surrendering. And that also is valid in our lives. So when we are fighting, we will never find peace. And that is what we want. Peace.
I definitely think so. Yeah.
But Tine, I'm also so curious about your way into all this health, and why do you want to be old? I guess you're happy for life. You already are grateful. But what is your way in?
Well, I think for me, longevity is actually not about getting old. Longevity is about being the best version of yourself today and in the future. So for me, it's really, if you look at statistics in the Western world, most of us will, per definition, live with a chronic disease 20% of our life. That is a lot of years of not feeling well. And my venturing into this space was actually living super high performance, entrepreneurial life, working left, right, and center, and I was amazing at pushing myself. Giselle had an amazing talk just before on burnout, and I was like, ooh, I can recognize so much of all, like, the driving force. That was me. I was just, if I felt any pain, anything, I would just push harder. And at some point, I had so much neck and back pain, and I flew a lot. I had a lot of international clients in my agency at that time, and I couldn't almost sit in the airplane. I had so much pain. I slept badly. I started developing allergies. I also related to mold, but again, my system could not really handle that extra stress that mold creates in a space where you live. And I was migraines, headaches. I mean, I was never sick, but I was constantly, all winter I would feel a little bit under the weather, constantly have a cough or have a flu, but I would never take myself time to actually lie down and be sick for whether it was one day or a week. So I was just pushing myself. And I realized at some point, like, okay, this probably needs to stop, because otherwise I will reach a point of burnout. But mostly I think it was actually a decision within myself that I won't accept this. I won't accept feeling like this, that this is the norm. I was not feeling sick, but I was definitely not feeling at my best either.
No.
And then it also reflects on who you are in your relations, and, as a mom, as a colleague, a boss, whatever. So then I discovered this amazing, what do you call it, like some of these amazing treatments, biohacking treatments, and why it was amazing for me with cryotherapy, with infrared sauna, light therapy, was that you taking something that naturally really boosts your body's ability to heal and recover and regenerate, both mentally and physically, and super time efficient. So I was like, okay, this I can manage. I would love to wake up and meditate for an hour and do yoga for an hour and then go in the woods. But I mean, not in my reality. So then I was really finding this like 3 minutes in a cryo chamber, and I could feel how it reset my nervous system, my stress levels came down, my energy got up, my endorphins, I got in a better mood, I could overcome more. And that really helped me in my own life. And I started thinking, I need this in Denmark, I need this at home. And there was not one cryo machine in Denmark at the time, or maybe one infrared sauna far out of the city. I mean, it was definitely not a thing here at that point. And then in the end, I was like, then I have to do it myself. Then I have to create a space because I need it. And I'm probably not the only one needing it. So that was how I ventured into this. And then I realized how amazing it is sharing this and helping other people. And that became the inspiration for doing the podcast, my podcast, 130 Biohacks, for doing this event, really just wanting to share what I felt was such a game changer in my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
But but what about now? Do you still have that pressure on you, like you want to achieve bigger things with this?
That is, I definitely do. I mean, I think when you've programmed yourself for so many years, all your life, it's hard to just switch. But I'm practicing every day. Yeah. and I'm using journaling techniques and but I'm very conscious about it. And I think that is the first step, to be mindful and conscious about your drivers, both the good and the bad ones. And then that's where you can start slowly to reprogram, to change. But it's not easy, to be honest. It's really, it's not like I can in my head say, okay, now I just want to be relaxed and grateful for what I have, but it's such a incorporated in me, and I also like the drive. I like new ideas. I like creating. But for sure, for me, it's really trying to find the balance.
Me too. I had the other day I wanted to relax, and then I found myself cleansing my oven. And it was so exhausting, and it took forever, and I don't know why I did it. I was like, now I can't stop the process. I already started it, and I feel the same as you, but I think it's important that we just, as you said, the first step is be aware we need to relax, and then take small steps. So can you give me one thing that you do when you, okay, now I need to relax? Can you give a good advice?
I think, again, to be very honest, when I need the most to relax, it's very hard for me to sit down and meditate or be quiet. So for me, I have my cryotherapy, because those 3 minutes the cold forces you out of your head and into your body. So for me, that is really a game changer, and it's not for everyone, but for me, it's like my go-to. But the other thing is walking, is getting out. I mean, if my mind is overloaded, and that's for me is like my walking meditations. That's where it's easier for me in movement than it is sitting still for some reason. So that is really a tool, and I've started using it many times during the day. Also, I try to encourage my employees, like, go for a walk, 5-10 minutes. Just, it gives you so much new energy and creativity, and it helps reset your nervous system. I think it's such a powerful tool. For me, at least. And again, we're all different, but be curious on what works for you. Be curious on, like, what is your thing that can help you? And I wish I would say breathing, but again, like meditation, I love doing breath work. And when I kind of go into it, and with some of these amazing breath work facilitators we also have here today, I love going into and having a breath work journey, but in a busy day when I'm really stressed, it's actually still difficult for me to sit down and do my breathing exercises, even though I know how efficient it is. I know all the science. I know how, but then again, But
it's not about knowledge.
No.
It's about patterns.
Yeah, exactly.
And my ex-boyfriend, he told me, you can't just live a life where you're totally stressed and then in 1 second, then you just have to relax, because you have to live a life that you don't need breaks from.
Very beautifully said.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's a new one. How do I do that? And one of the first things actually I did was stop drinking so much alcohol, because that was kind of my ventil from a week, very busy week. Then in the weekends, I was like, let me just get rid of, especially all my thoughts.
Exactly.
I am so done with thinking. But then I was so done with thinking that I actually destroyed everything that I was trying to build up during the week. So I didn't cheat on my boyfriend, but when I was younger, I was way too flirtatious.
Flirtatious. Yeah.
Flirtatious. And that was not a good side of me, and I was regretting it. And I was not being true to myself. So I think that for me, that was a very... I was in a program, a TV program, where we had 1 month without alcohol, and that was when I realized that I actually use alcohol as a ventil in my life. So now I can't even drink. It's just that I was at a birthday this Friday, and I had 3 glasses of wine, and it's just like there's a blockage in my system that says, you don't even want this. So I think it's good to be aware, what am I trying to get away from?
Yeah.
Try to look at those feelings and stop running.
And I think, I mean, that's a whole discussion in itself, like how do we ventilize, but also what are our escape mechanisms / addictions, and addictions is much more than alcohol and drugs. It's many things, but how do we, how do we avoid the stress of life with, escaping in different
ways?
Yeah.
It's like the strategies, like when we are giving other people, we are say it's your fault that I'm sad. That's also a strategy to avoid our own feelings. So alcohol, giving guilt to others, trying to overthink, not even taking actions, but just thinking it all through. Have you ever tried that, where you're just, next time I meet that man, I would say this and this and this, and you never say it? You're overwhelmed when it happens, but so it's just waste of time. That's what I'm saying. All the strategies, the small soldiers inside of us, they're like, we will do whatever we can to protect you. So I found out for myself, it's better to say, yes, small soldiers, I know that you're trying to help me, but actually you are making it all worse. It's not helpful to drink. It's not helpful to watch Netflix all day to avoid taking actions. It's not helpful to blame others. It's not helpful. So what do you really need? What do you need? Sometimes they just need to relax, to eat something. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they need to see someone they love.
And maybe they need that. And I think this is what most of us are terrible at. Maybe they need just a hug, to be loved, to feel taken care of. And when I say this, it's, the little girl or little boy inside of us that needs to just be. Instead of running away from it, instead of I'm not feeling this, I can overcome it, I'm more powerful. Yeah. But
and we can give ourselves that hug.
Yeah.
Because if we feel pity for ourselves, that's the worst feeling I know. When I feel, I just need to be loved, especially by my mom. And she's not so good at that. And then I can be very sad because she's not the mom I want her to be. Because I don't allow her, that's one thing, but that's another story. But it's just important that we are taking care of that small child, as you just talked about.
Yeah, and I think in the end, realizing that maybe we wish it from our mother or our boyfriend or whoever, but in the end, we are the ones that can give it to ourselves.
Yes.
That self-love, that self-care is so important. And I'm saying this like I'm so great at it, and I'm not. But again, I'm practicing every day. But it is really, and I think we talk a lot about visualization, and it's mentioned in a lot of the talks, like visualize that little girl or that little boy inside. And sometimes when you feel like everything, whether you feel victimized or frustrated or angry or sad, or like try and visualize giving yourself that hug and just, it's okay. I'm here. It's okay. You're feeling this way, but I love you and I'm here. But again, and this is, and it still fascinates me. Like I've interviewed so many amazing people with my podcast, with all the work I do in this space. I've been to so many places, hearing people sharing their stories and their insights and knowledge. And as much as we can know, it takes time, and it's still, I think it's a human thing. It's a journey that lasts all life. But as long as you feel you just do one tiny thing, a little step, I think you get a long way.
Yes.
But I also would love, I know we are getting close to time, but I would love for you to also share, like, what is, I guess you're sitting with it in your hand, but how do you really cope with this? What is your greatest hack or way to live or implement some of these elements in your life?
I was just thinking about this text. It's not only blank pages in the book, but there's one text every beginning of the month, and there's this text about the sun. And that's one of the first ones, because it's so important to remember that when we are feeling hurt and we want that hug, we need to remember that we are not just a solstråle, sunray, sunshine on its own. We are a part of the sun. So the sun is actually helping us. We are all together on the same journey towards the earth or around the universe. We don't have to push ourselves, and we are not alone. We are in this together. That's this little text is about, and that's just so important to remember. And I think that's what I always try to open up for when I'm writing my gratitude book, is remembering who I am. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not my look. I'm not my body. I am a part of a whole universe of energy, and we are in it together. So on my way here, there was a lady, she was yelling. She was a drug addict. And I was afraid that she might hit me or something. And then I thought, okay, I have this matcha ice latte. And maybe if I put it on her, she will be afraid and then try and run away because it's so cold. But then I also thought maybe she was so afraid and she was so shocked by the cold that she would begin to cry. And then I just felt love for her. And I thought, oh, I'm so happy that she didn't hit me, one thing. And I'm also happy that I didn't react it like that, because she's also just a lost soul. I just think that's the most powerful tool.
Yeah.
Not to judge people because they are lost. And don't judge yourself when you're lost, but try to find kindness. Maybe writing it down so you can see it on paper, then you're already manifesting it. It goes from idea to real, like paper and pen.
Exactly.
So be kind to yourself, especially. Begin with yourself, then you can share. Sharing is also one thing. Sharing is knowing that what you have. Because I can't give this book if I don't have it. So you realize what you have when you can give it away. So giving is actually receiving.
So true. And
yeah.
That's a very beautiful end note for an amazing conversation that we could continue with for hours.
Yes, we could.
But
I hope you're still alive out there listening.
That's for another day. But thank you so much, Carla, for being here.
Thank you for sharing your story as well.
Yes,
Very
likewise.
inspiring.
And thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
And I will say, just from one of the people that have helped me create some of these tools is also Jeanette, who's going on stage in a moment. So I would highly recommend for you to stay and listen to her, because she can really also transform some of this we talked to into some tangible tools you can use in your everyday life.
Nice. Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nick, not this one, the one after, sorry. There's one talk in between. Yeah.
I'll just take a picture of you and me. Are you okay with that? I'll just take a selfie.
Selfie with you guys in the background.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Thank you.